The Tri-State's bracing for those sub-zero temperatures this week, and so are local warming centers. WGEM's Robbie Tucker spoke with a volunteer today and has more on what one group is doing to keep others safe.
Tri-State families will be hunkering down in their homes in order to avoid the sub-zero temps this week, but for others that might not be an option. For them, emergency warming centers like this one here at Trinity Episcopal Church in Hannibal may be the difference between life and death.
I think when we're looking at the more extreme stretches like this, when we're talking negative wind chills, I mean, that's dangerous. Individuals who are staying outside can die in those temperatures. So we do anticipate with the colder weather, with the ice, with the snow, that we do have higher traffic this time.
In its 3 years of operation, the warming center has served as many as 14 guests at a time, offering them shelter, food, and winter clothes while connecting them to social services in the area. Stephanie Himmel is a volunteer with the Hannibal Emergency Warming Center. She says serving guests is eye-opening and rewarding.
Once you've been here and just spoken with our guests, and I think realize that they're human beings that just want to be warm and fed, that really breaks down the things that we can tell ourselves in our mind.
Himmel says help is still needed for the midnight to 5 a.m. shift.
We are sheltering wonderful humans with sometimes very difficult life stories, but we really believe that they're deserving of the same dignity that you or I are deserving of.
Reporting in Hannibal, Robbie Tucker, WGEM News.
The Hannibal Emergency Warming Center will be open tonight through Monday morning from 6 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. each night. A list of emergency warming centers throughout the Tri-States can be found on our website, WGEM.com.